Death Cab for Cutie became famous. Harvey Danger became famous. But my band didn't. Hello, everybody. My name is Jack. And if the algorithm found you, you were a fan of grunge music. The name of my band is Mia Mera. You can stream all of our songs right here on this YouTube channel or wherever you stream your music. And I thank you very much for listening because I do believe grunge heals. Grunge will heal the world. And if you're interested in a free sticker, by the way, leave a comment down below and I will see about getting you a free sticker. But first off, let's go back into the Wayback Machine. We're going back into the late 90s. We're going to talk a little bit about the Seattle scene. And also, I want to talk about this book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, because this book is relevant to my story, and it's relevant to your story as well. We're also going to talk about that. But the first of the four agreements is be impeccable with your word. Right? Be impeccable with your word. And I promise you, everything that I'm about to tell you right now is 100% true. This is a true story. Back in the late 90s, I was in a band called Severna Park. And in Seattle, the grunge scene was sort of winding down a little bit. Other types of music were starting to gain popularity. But Seattle was still a hotbed for music. There were still so many good bands in Seattle, and we were very lucky to be there at that time. One of the bands that we used to play with on a regular basis was a band called Pinwheel. Now, we played some of the worst dives you've ever seen in your life. We played this one bar. It was called the Rendezvous, and we played there every week for, I want to say, like half a year. And this place was just, as Obi-Wan would say, a hive of scum and villainy. I mean, it was disgusting. But we played there every week because that's what you do when you're a band. And we became really good friends. I was really good friends with Ben Gibbard, who later, of course, went on to form Death Cab for Cutie. And, we duked it out. We were playing shows. We were switching back and forth. They were from Bellingham, Washington. So sometimes they would come down to Seattle and play a show here. Then we go up to Bellingham and play a show there. It was really cool. It was a great time. And they were a really good band too. We both had common interests. We didn't just like grunge. We also liked other alternative music. Shoegaze was a big one. Shoegaze is like one of my favorite genres. And also we liked the Beatles and, all kinds of other emo. Emo was getting big. Sunny Day Real Estate was becoming huge. So all of that combined was of common interest for us. And we got along really well. But at a certain point, Pinwheel was sort of maybe on their way to breaking up. Ben had his eyes on other things. He had a couple other projects going on. And we, just sort of went on to play bigger venues in the city. And one of the bands that we hooked up with at that point was Harvey Danger. Now, Harvey Danger is best known for the song Flagpole Sitta, which if you're not familiar with that band or that song, you know this song. You've definitely heard it. It's one of the most popular songs in the 90s. I'm not sick, but I'm not well. Ba-ba-da-da-ba. You know it. You know that song. So we actually played their album release party. Harvey Danger was on a little indie called Arena Rock. And we played with them at the Crocodile, and then we that spawned a working relationship. And we played a lot of shows together. But that song became so huge in Seattle that it started getting played a couple times every hour on the radio station. And then other radio stations started picking it up. And then eventually, of course, it was getting picked up by other radio stations. And Harvey Danger got signed. They got signed to a record label. I think they got signed to Warner Brothers. So, boom, off they go. And as soon as that happened to them, we were kind of, we were certainly happy for them, and we also maybe felt like, they were going to take us along with them, because we were kind of friends, and we thought that they would maybe take us on tour with them, or maybe recommend us, or who knows. We were friends, so we thought that maybe that would happen. But that brings me to the second of the 4 agreements, which is don't take anything personally. That didn't happen. Harvey Danger did not take us on tour, and it's not. I don't think it was for any real personal reason, except that maybe the guitar player of Harvey Danger was dating someone who used to date the drummer of my band. So we thought that maybe that might have that would have been an awkward situation if they had taken us on tour. I don't know. Again, don't take it personally. It's just something that happened. But the band they did take on tour was a band called Death Cab for Cutie, because by then Ben Gibbard had formed a new band, and they were just really good. Death Cab for Cutie put out that first. Actually, it was at first it was just a demo. It was a cassette. I used to have the cassette, the original demo. Wish I still did. Anyway, and the guys in Harvey Danger loved it, and they took them on tour. And then Harvey Danger got bigger and bigger, and as they got bigger, Death Cab was able to sort of parlay that into a little following, because it wasn't because they were on tour with Harvey Danger. It's because Death Cab is an amazing band. It's because they were so good. That was just their platform. But they were that damn good that they were able to parlay this opening band slot into their own thing, and they developed their own fan base, and they did it 100% themselves. They, don't get me wrong here, they earned it. They earned every bit of it. But we at the time might have felt like we had maybe been a little bit left out, because we thought that we knew Death Cab, and we knew Harvey Danger and some of the other bands, and we were just kind of like, well, what about us? Why did we kind of get left out in the rain, so to speak? And that brings me to the third of the 4 agreements, which is don't make assumptions. Don't make assumptions. Don't assume that just because you know somebody that they're going to do you a favor. They didn't owe us anything. We didn't owe them. They didn't owe us anything. We didn't owe them anything. It is what it is. And both Harvey Danger and Death Cab for Cutie were amazing bands, amazing musicians, and they wrote amazing songs, and that's why they were successful. Everybody either gets a break or you don't get your break. That has nothing to do with how talented you are. And it also has nothing to do with your skill level. It has everything to do with fate and the way things just sort of fall into place. And then flash forward, a few more years, and Death Cab for Cutie is on top of the world. Like they're selling out, arenas and stuff. And I personally think they're probably going to go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame eventually. And Harvey Danger's their place in history is set, because that song is one of the all-time classics of the 90s. So where does that leave us? Well, you might say, well, that could make me leave me a bitter person, or maybe I'm why, wow, that should have been me, or any of that stuff. But that's not really the case. And I know you might not believe me, but what I'm saying is true. I never really wrote music for that reason. Would we like to have made a living off of our, but would we have liked to have got signed and gotten big and all that? Of course we would have loved it. But at the same time, that's not why I make music. And I know that is why some people make music. I know on some other YouTube channels, people talk about how, they got signed to a record deal and the deal didn't work out, so now they're done. I'm done with the music industry. I'm never gonna do this anymore. I'm done making music. But that's not me. That's not me, because I'm what you call a lifer. I'm a lifer. This is a t-shirt from one of my favorite bands, Local H. And I'm gonna write music no matter what. I was gonna write music no matter what back then. I'm gonna write music no matter what now. I've always written music. Music heals my soul. It heals me. That's why I write it. I love playing music. I love writing music. And most of all, I love listening to music. So it's my life. And that brings me to the last of the 4 agreements, which is always do your best. Because at the end of the day, that's all you can do, right? You don't have control over what bands take you on tour. You don't have control over what record labels sign your band. You don't have any control over reviews you get. You don't have control over the algorithm and whether it goes out. These are things you do not control. What you do control is your work. And this is how you control it. With a commitment to consistency. Being consistent, showing up and not giving up and not quitting. Putting out music on a regular basis. Posting your music on a regular basis. Putting it out there. You can control that. Yes, it's a pain in the ass. Yes, it's a pain to upload a song and record and get on social media and do it over and over and over again every 6 to 8 weeks. Yes, it's a pain. But you can control that. Right? So take control of what you're doing. And if it's music that you love, then you can take that steering wheel and you can commit to consistent output and make your music. Because that's, at the end of the day, what you can control. You always do your best. That's all you got. That's all you got right now. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do my best. I have a new single right now. It's called Back in Black and White. Of course, you can stream that anywhere you stream music. You can get that. I'm going to have a video up there real soon here on YouTube. And I appreciate all your support, everybody out there. Please know that I know that there is greatness inside of you. So I want you to go forward in grace and gratitude and show the world your greatness. Because I know you're great. Thanks, everybody. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.